Well, there's your championship coming into this event. Sainz, that 9-point lead. It's equal second between Britain's Colin McRae and Finland's Tommi Mäkinen. Juha Kankkunen, then Didier Auriol, just split by 1 point, and they likewise are 7 points ahead of another Brit, Richard Burns. 25 kilograms lost off the Mitsubishi since the tarmac cars were last rolled out. In Corsica, buoyed Tommi Mäkinen before the event. A huge amount of testing in Italy beforehand also put the rugby-based team high on the betting. Ghosts from '96 when he crashed 1 kilometre into the first stage was certainly put to the back of his mind during the first few kilometres this year. Piero Liatti won this event back in 1995, but it wasn't a full World Rally Championship event. He did win it on the stages last year, but was forced to give way to teammate McRae at the final time control to aid the Subaru #1 in the title hunt. But maybe Liatti wouldn't need team orders this year, as 4 kilometres into the second stage, Colin McRae was to have a puncture. Normally not a problem, but the Moose insert in the tyre failed to work, so he and Nicky Grist lost at least 30 seconds. Not a good start for the British crew.
We had a puncture 4 kilometres from the start of the stage, and we have a system in the tyre that should blow the tyre back up again, and it didn't work properly. So we had to run most of the stage with the tyre at half pressure, and then towards the end there was too much heat in the tyre and the tyre exploded.
Carlos Sainz has never won the Sanremo, but the Toyota Corolla was first on the Monte Carlo and Catalonia events this year. He wasn't finding it easy to keep up with the others.
Okay, no big problems, just trying hard, but at the moment we are a little bit behind Mäkinen and Liatti. We are pushing hard, but we cannot get them at the moment.
Liatti, after being fastest on stage 1, he then lost the lead to Mäkinen on the second, but was never more than 5 seconds back.
Destra 2, lunga. Per sinistra 4 e destra 3 meno, non stringerla, e sinistra 90 su bivio.
But Tommi Mäkinen stalked the Subaru's every move. The watching world was waiting for the rest of the field, really, to catch up to Mäkinen and Piero Liatti. Colin McRae was doing his utmost to find that time back after that puncture on the first part of the day, but he was giving it everything as always. 1995 world champion. 29-year-old reigning Italian champion Andrea Dalla Villa was in amongst the works cars in the 97 spec Subaru, but when the front tyre totally disintegrated, he fell down the leaderboard. Just look how it destroys the front wing. Didier Auriol pushing hard here, but sometimes a little too hard, just dislodging the front bumper as he handbrakes it round the hairpin. But he has won this event 3 times. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. He started quite slowly in the slippery conditions, but once the 1994 world champion had found his feet, he was fastest on the first one of the day, and then up to third by the time he returned to Parc Fermé.
During
the first 2 stages, I lost a little bit of time because I didn't start very fast. I was sliding around and it was quite tricky. I prefer it when I know the reactions of the car, so I took things very carefully because it was the beginning of the rally, and then just slowly, I've attacked but not tried to lose contact with the people ahead of me, Mäkinen and Liatti. They're going very fast and it's very difficult to follow them. It really is necessary to attack and take those risks. Tommi Mäkinen was attacking and was taking risks. His lead went from 0.9 to 1.9 to 3.7 seconds, but considering that that was done over 45 kilometres, that's a long distance to take just 3.7 seconds out of Piero Liatti. Piero Liatti, the Italian fans cheering him to the echo. Carlos Sainz knows that the car can win on tarmac. He won in Monte Carlo, and the car, of course, in Auriol's hands, won in Catalonia. And even though the local wildlife strayed onto the stages, at least the police were there when you needed one. On board with Colin McRae and Nicky Grist. Subaru just outside the points as we came into the end of day one. Francois Delacour, well, the non-turbo 2-litre engine of the Peugeot was again working wonders on the tarmac for Francois Delacour. But in the slippery conditions, the power could not be put down like it could in Catalonia. But having said that, he was still leading F2 and he was in 5th overall. The development has now stopped on the Escort, and it was probably beginning to show. 6th place for Bruno Thierry. The new Focus model will start testing in a few days' time for the debut on Monte Carlo in 1999.
Gauche 30 bref, droite bref, gauche 30 plus bref.
The Mitsubishi squad were glowing with the performance of their 96 and 1997 world champion. Mäkinen leading at this point.
It was good day, but I mean tomorrow going to be a very difficult day. There is completely different type of stages. They are sleepy and narrow, and I think tomorrow everything can happen.
Tomorrow will be a lot difficult for us because it's going to be very technical. Nobody knows the roads, so it's going to be very important to just take things steadily and to be careful. So after leg one, Mäkinen just 3.7 ahead of Piero Liatti. That was a battle royale, really, accumulating to a point. Oriol third, Sainz fourth, the two Toyotas together, and then the leading F2 car, Francois Delacour. From an overnight third position, Didier Auriol got into the second test on Tuesday before he cut a corner that was to throw him off the road. And such was the violence of the accident that the wheel was ripped out of all its mounting points except at the top of the strut. Just wait until he goes round the right-hander. The same rock actually then also put an end to 1998 British Rally champion Martin Rowe in the Renault. Auriol out of the rally and not a fourth win.
Dans le droite, j'ai une droite corde. J'ai pris la corde, mais...
I was on a right-hand corner and I cut it too much, and there was this big stone that I'd probably not seen in the recce, and we hit it. It threw us over to the left, and we damaged the left of the car, but obviously the worst damage was on the right-hand side as the suspension is really mangled. And whilst Auriol licked his wounds, he wasn't the only one to fall by the wayside. This is Kankkunen. And I don't know how much the repair bill is going to be back in Cumbria for that one. Got way out of shape on the end of stage 14. Kankkunen out of the vent, as well as Auriol.
Little spin. Just in there.
Oh, what a mess.
Oh, just, you know, it's quite good clean sometimes, but sometimes you have a little bit off the line and the rear just snapped over.
Mäkinen was going well and his rivals could see no gap in the Mitsubishi armour to go in for the kill. The Finn logged another 2 fastest stage times to make it 5 in total, and at this point the most than any driver. Piero Liatti was still not quite getting a look in on fastest stage times, but he was seeing the gap ahead of him getting wider by small amounts every single time to Mäkinen, who was ahead of him.
No problems so far, except last stage I hit the stone quite hard for this wheel right front, and I think we had the puncture.
And after day one problems, Colin McRae was now steaming through the field, setting 2 fastest stage times throughout the second day.
The times in the last 2 stages were quite good, but we're not pulling anything back, only a couple of seconds.
Having re-signed with Toyota for 1999, Carlos Sainz was getting into the groove, but was disappointed when he drove flat out only to then be 5th or 6th on a stage. He was up to 3rd after Oriol's demise. Bruno Thierry was changing the suspension on the M Sport Ford Escort by dropping it down on the front in order to rid it of understeer, but he went off the road on stage 13 and lost a huge amount when the engine then didn't start. I was surprised by a damp patch on the road. It was noted by my gravel note crew, but under braking, I locked it on the brakes and the car just went like a luge into the corner. I went off a little bit, but not too far. Okay, it wasn't so important, but with the engine then stalled, it was so difficult to get a hot engine restarted. It was not to be a podium position for the Delacour Peugeot as they had done in Corsica. The gearbox was not talking the same language as the clutch, and it was to be the end of his Sanremo rally. Francois Delacour now out. Richard Burns was on top form after the loss of speed during day 1. He was always mixing it with the fastest runners and brought the Mitsubishi up to 5th after the second day. Burns was going back to the Banbury Subaru stable for 1999, of course, where he started his international career.
The stages down here are a very different character from the ones on the first day, and everything has worked really well. I think the fact that we're running a little bit further back means the road's a little bit cleaner, where everybody's been braking and there's a lot of dust and stuff on the road, which makes it quite slippery. And I've just been driving hard and concentrating hard, and the car's working really well.
Tommy Mäkinen was fastest on the last 3 stages on day 2, but even the unstoppable Tommy Mäkinen was not immune from the odd gaffe when he lost the back of the car here. 3-point turn in the driving test. I think he got 5.9 for artistic impression on that one. Note the replicated rev counter in front of the co-driver, Manasin Maki.
It's just snap oversteer and we spun, that's it. And it was so narrow place, it was very difficult to...
Pierre Liatti was soldiering on, always there and thereabouts. But he only beat Mäkinen once during the second day, which just meant that he was a little further back behind the Finn. Finishing day 2, he was 28.5 back of the leader. Put Colin McRae in a difficult situation, and he somehow seems to speed out of it. 9th overnight from day 1, he was now up to 3rd after day 2. Sainz's Toyota was only 10 seconds behind the Subaru of McRae at the end of the second day, but the Spaniard had not set a fastest time yet throughout the whole rally.
We changed to a new compound of tyre, a development tyre that we had, and it started to work very well in the slippy tarmac.
With the demise of Delacour, another Frenchman in another French car took the lead of F2. Bugowski in the Citroën Zara was now in charge of the F2 normally aspirated 2-wheel drive category. So after the second day, Mäkinen just a little bit further ahead, about half a minute. Colin McRae up to 3rd position, but look, he's a long way back of Liatti. Sainz there and thereabouts in 4th, 10 seconds back of McRae. Richard Burns inside the magical points bracket, and Thierry 6th place so far. On Monday. 66 miles over 6 stages for Tommy Mäkinen to complete and hold that 28-second advantage on the rest of the field. Pierre Liatti had it all to do on the last day in front of his home crowd. In the second stage, after 10 kilometers, we had a problem with the mousse in the tires. I had a terrible vibration inside the car because of this, and this is the reason why we lost a few seconds this morning. Mäkinen, therefore, just eking out a few more seconds on the Italian. Mäkinen still first, Liatti still second. The Panisi brothers were scrabbling for grip out of the hairpins, but they were quick once it was wound up. 4 fastest stage times over the last 6 stages meant he put over 30 seconds into Thierry in the last few miles to eventually finish up 5th overall. Hotly tipped for the second Focus drive next year, Bugowski got within 4 stages of the end before going off, leaving teammate Patrick McGough second by the time they got to the checkered flag in F2. Former British champions Mark Higgins was 4th, and Alistair McRae was 6th in F2. Gilles Panizzi, 5th overall, first in F2. He says we have incredible tires like in Corsica, but we have to be careful because we only have front-wheel drive, and with the anti-puncture system the pressure increases enormously. So throughout the stage we have to back off a little according to this pressure build-up and then take it from then on in. Next time out it'll be 206s. Piero Liatti checking the front Pirellis of teammate Colin McRae's Subaru. And Carlos Sainz also looking at the Michelins on Tommy Mäkänen's Mitsubishi. Well, with Sainz and McRae here coming into service, well, they were together coming into service, and the time between them was less than 5 seconds coming into the last couple of stages. Colin McRae dropped the suspension by 5mm in the Scrabble to keep ahead of Sainz. McRae in 3rd, Sainz in 4th. The two battled it out for the World Championship on the RAC Rally in 1995, and by judging this rally, it could go all the way to the Welsh Forests in November. Be there or be square. For getting the overall win, Sainz and Moyer held nothing back against the blue Subaru. They had 3.1 second advantage going into the last 2 tests. Well, was it going to be team orders again between Piero Liatti and Colin McRae in the Subaru camp? At this moment, he says there is no team strategy going into the last 2.
You don't think they will ask you to go slowly?
No, I don't think so.
Not this year.
Okay.
Liatti was fastest on the final and longest stage of the event, but it was not enough to catch Mäkänen, so it was 2nd place for he and Fabrizio Pons in the Subaru Impreza. With only a 3.1 second advantage over Sainz going into the last stage, Colin McRae pulled out all the stops and held nothing back to eventually finish just 1.7 seconds ahead of the Spaniard.
It was very important to win here. Okay, the next most important thing was to be in front of Carlos, which we managed, but only by 1 point, so it makes it very difficult, especially with Tommy now, 10 points, 6 points in front, so it's not easy.
Try as he may, with all the Latin aggression he could muster, Sainz had to settle for 3 points behind the Scot. Although the Corolla is small and nimble, the tight, twisty roads didn't quite give him the advantage he was hoping for, and it showed.
This result is disappointing for you, or what?
Well, a little bit, yes, but what can I do?
Tommy Mäkänen just had to drive quick enough to keep his concentration through the last test. He did it eventually to finish 15 seconds ahead of Liatti for his 14th World Rally Championship win.
Yes, it's very tight at the moment. It's been hard season, some bad luck, some good luck, and everything has changed a lot. And at the moment we are very close together, all of us, and it's still very interesting end of season. Australia, of course, is my favorite, but also RAC is good event for me. I used to drive very much in Great Britain, and I can't see any reason why I should be worried about that.
It was eventually impossible for Liatti to pass McRae, go backwards, by incurring road penalties, as the minimum increment of which is 10 seconds, which wouldn't have then split the Scot from the Spaniard. Got that one? So therefore the Subaru opted for the manufacturer's points instead. Mäkänen, Liatti, McRae, that's your podium. 8 points now covering the top 3, 10 points for a win, of course. 2 rallies to go. All winners there except Juha Kankkunen. Wouldn't it be a good swan song for the Escort to win in Australia or in Great Britain? But the opposition is going to be very, very steep for the blue oval. Toyota just 4 points ahead of Mitsubishi. Subaru, well, you never do know. A couple of wins for Subaru and a couple of strong 2nd or 3rd places, and if they have a good day and anybody else has a bad day, you never know. So Tommi Mäkinen and Risto Mäkinen annihilate the opposition on gravel, and now he's done it for the second time on tarmac, and all of this without the big guns retiring. Well done, Mitsubishi Rally Art. The opposition must already be worried about how quick the Evolution 6 will be. This is Toby Moody. I hope that you've enjoyed the rallying here on Eurosport. I look forward to bringing you the highlights of Australia and, of course, the RAC Rally. Thank you very much for joining us. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Mannissim Häkki.